if you are this person who have been beaten by the blows of life, you have encountered a lot of pain, frustration because of this COVID-19, because of the effects of COVID, whether in your finances, whether in your work, whether in different areas of your life, this video is for you. You need to remember that you are not alone in facing that storm. You are not alone, and remember that we are in this together. That we need to understand that whatever is happening there is a purpose, because we know eventually it will make us better. That whatever hardships, whatever frustrations that you're experiencing, you need to remember that that's just temporary. But the good news with that, yes, there is a storm of COVID affecting our finances, affecting businesses, affecting a lot of things. The good thing with that, as we are beaten by the blows of life, the good news with that is we can bounce back. We can rise above it. Sometimes kasi feeling natin, ay, ang laki na ng baksak natin. The mighty, we have fallen. But we need to remember, yes, we have fallen, but the higher the fall, the greater the bounce. So do not feel na, ay, grabe, sobra na yung binaksak ko of my business, binaksak ko of my employment, or my dreams. You need to remember, the higher the fall, the greater the bounce. Hey guys, welcome again to Rooftop Reflections Indoor Edition, Living Room Reflections, or Under the Roof Rooftop Reflections, or whatever that is. And we know we are the people, or we need to be people who would be adjusting to whatever life is throwing at us, because we know we are experiencing a storm. And it is signal number 2. The name of the storm is Ambo. The thing that we are going through right now as Filipinos, ano tayo generally resilient tayo. And yung resilient na to, thank you also for giving this suggestion, AM Kadyang, on bouncing back. And saktong-sakto, this is also the week wherein bumagyo. So, sakto talaga ang topic. And itong resilient, we heard of this even before. There will be some downsides because it's tough, and because we are forced to stay at home. How we will do this, diba, as we have this storm of COVID, it disrupted the businesses. We know that operations of businesses were closed. Walang customers, walang clients. That's why some companies, they were forced, or at least they made tough decisions to talk to their people na, okay, sige, because of not much work in this season, so kung okay lang in this season, you will not work, so that at least ma-preserve pa rin natin yung cash flow. To some companies, they were forced to make a hard decision that to limit the working hours of people para at least mas limit din yung lumabas na money. And there are some companies, hard, sakit sabihin, and those companies were forced to lay off some people. So, di ba, kawawa naman din yung mga families who have been affected by it. Di ba, yun yung heart natin for those people who lost their jobs in the midst of this storm that we are facing. So, ang dami nating pinagdadaanan. Yung ginagawa ng COVID storm na to, yes, it affected our businesses, but it also affected our finances. It affected our work. Money it's now being restricted coming in kasi hindi tayo nakakatrabaho, but the bills are still piling because even if we are not working, our eating is still continuing. Sino dito nung nag-ECQ mas tumuloy at lumakas pa ang appetite? Hindi makapag-social distancing sa ref. So even if you're not hungry, you're eating maybe because you're bored. So, di ba? Yes, money might not flow in, but the thing is, money will always flow out because we need to eat, we need to pay for rent, we need to pay for other bills, and there are some fixed costs that we need to also consider. But the good news with that, yes, there is a storm of COVID affecting our finances, affecting businesses, affecting a lot of things. The good thing with that, as we are beaten by the blows of life, the good news with that is we can bounce back. We can rise above it. even with all of those things, we can rise above it. We can go higher. And the good thing with that, we need to remember, sometimes kasi feeling natin, ay, ang laki na ng baksak natin. The mighty, we have fallen. But we need to remember, yes, we have fallen, but the higher the fall, the greater the bounce. So do not feel na, ay, grabe, sobra na yung binaksak ko of my business, binaksak ko of my employment, or my dreams. You need to remember, the higher the fall, the greater the bounce. So, you will just rise up all the more, rise up better, rise up stronger, rise above the noise. Tama, Kathy. And that's the good thing, that we can rise above all of that. So, the question that I asked earlier, even the caption in this video, is how to bounce back in the blows of life. How to bounce back sa mga blows ng life na binigay sa atin. And that's our rooftop reflections. How to bounce back by the blows of life. So, what I will do is, medyo nahirapan ako dito because, I don't know, maybe this is a new normal. And speaking of new normal, that's a different video in itself. Maybe the new normal for me when I'm doing videos, I'm creating an acrostic or an acronym so that we can better understand it. And for me, I'm using acronym because I know the retention rate would be higher, but at the same time, it's easier to transfer the information. Because that's the goal of my videos. That's the goal of these videos, is so that whatever you watch here, it's not just only for you. Please share it to people. Share it to people who are experiencing challenges and troubles. So, I made an acrostic. Actually, nahirapan talaga ako kasi, I'm forced to make a framework with the letters. But thanks be to God and for the help of people, I'm really grateful that we have this acrostic, and that's letter bounce. Bounce, baby, bounce. So B-O-U-N-C-E. So before we start, we need to remember this, that if you are this person who have been beaten by the blows of life, you have encountered a lot of pain, frustration, because of this COVID-19, because of the effects of COVID, whether in your finances, whether in your work, whether in different areas of your life, this video is for you. You need to remember that you are not alone in facing that storm. You are not alone, and remember that we are in this together, that we need to understand that whatever's happening there is a purpose, because we know eventually it will make us better. So, if you know some people who you think would be encouraged by this video, please tag them, please share this video. This video is for you. Kasi, like ako, marami rin ako mga sablay. But, the good thing with that is, we have also the opportunity to bounce back higher. And, what I will do, pinapawisan na ako, and I will use my bonnet as my pseudo panyo. Okay, ang bilis doon. So, the acrostic that we will use is bounce, B-O-U-N-C-E, so that it would help us bounce back higher because of the blows of life. So, let's start. I hope you are ready. Letter B. So, unang-una, be brave to face reality. Be brave to face reality, because what we have experienced, sometimes it's easy just to hayaan mo na, or just not to really see what's going on. It's innate with us to deny it. Yung denial stage, if you remember the stages of grief by Kubler and Ross, yung DABDA, naalala nyo pa ba yun? Di ba? Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And also, meron pang ang variation nun, yung 7 stages when they added shock, which is the first, and then yung testing before acceptance. But that's a different video in itself. But that's our tendency to deny what's going on. Because what will happen if we face the reality of what's going on? We will face the failure. We will face the challenges. We will face the bad negative flow in the company. Syempre, malalagay tayo sa alanganin yan eh. It's something that's vulnerable, and ayaw natin malagay sa alanganin. And maybe to some, because those are important things in our lives, sa parang hindi pa tayo ready harapin. But the thing is, it's important for us to be brave to face reality. May mga kilala ba kayo na mga matapang that they are brave in the midst of adversity, in the midst of what's going on in their careers, no matter the rejection, whether in business, in work, sa pag-apply sa trabaho, or maybe rejection sa panliligaw. May kilala ba kayo? Tag them! Tag them! Tag them. Because again, what's important is we need to be brave in facing reality. Kasi ano yan eh, it's tough but it's important. I have two subpoints in being brave in facing reality. So, yung una is to acknowledge the reality. Kasi kailangan natin maintindihan the business was affected. No clients coming in. No businesses coming in. Ngayon, wala na akong work or yung salary ko bawas or ngayon floating ako. We need to acknowledge the fact that that is happening in our lives. Kasi before we improve on something, we need to understand and define what is happening. So it's important that we acknowledge it and not to deny it. I mentioned earlier yung dab-dab, yung our tendency is really to deny yung mga reality kasi it's painful. What we will do is we just shrug it off. But it's important to acknowledge reality. The second subpoint is to accept reality. It's one thing to acknowledge reality, but it's another thing to accept reality. So, iba kasi yung you just acknowledge it, pero hindi mo tanggap. But the thing is, what we need to do is not just to acknowledge it that it's happening, but also accept it na ganun na yung nangyari. It is what it is. Because if we will not accept it, what will happen is we will just wallow in the mud. Kasi na-recognize mo na that there is pain, you've recognized that there's frustration, you've recognized the downfall, you've recognized the downward spiral of finances or of your targets, pero we need to accept it. Because if not, it will just lead to self-pity. Oh, kawawa naman ako. Parang wala nang pag-asa sa buhay ko. Kasi, of course, again, we all face that. That's our tendency. But by the grace of God, I hope we will not just acknowledge reality, but accept it. That we need to see na, okay, nangyari to. So now is the time that I can bounce back. Now is the time that I can rise above it. So, again, when we acknowledge and accept reality, this is something na sana hindi pilit. Oh, kasi sabi kasi ni Rooftop Reflections dapat we need to acknowledge, accept reality. Hindi mo naman fino-force yan. It's something that you need to go through as a journey, reflecting on your thoughts, reflecting on how you are. So it's not forced, and it also depends on you as a person kasi iba-iba yung pace of coping, iba-iba yung pace of accepting. But the point is, please don't stay long and waddle in the mud, because the longer we stay down, the more detriment it would be for us. Please don't wallow in the mud. Please don't wallow in the mud. So, that's the first letter. For those who are joining, what we are doing is we have an acrostic on how to bounce back by the blows of life. So, yung unang acrostic natin, yung B, is to be brave and face reality. Yung two subpoints dyan is to acknowledge reality and then to accept reality. And yung letter O, I hope you are ready with the letter O, is to observe yourself. Observe yourself. So ngayon, as I'm observing myself, pinapawisan ako, so kailangan kong magpunas using the bonnet that I should have worn. So, observe yourself. So, because in this trying time, a lot of things are going on and maybe we are not aware. That's why we need to be deliberate in observing it. So, as we observe ourselves, the first subpoint in observing ourselves, we need to observe our emotions. Kamusta ba yung emotions natin? Are we managing it well? Again, emotions are not bad, but it should be controlled. It should be managed. We don't want our emotions to flare up. We don't want to be so emotional that we can't make sound judgments. Diba? Alam natin yan that we refrain from making decisions, especially kung emotional tayo ngayon. And I think decision making, that's a different topic in itself. Thank you for those people who have suggested some topics that we can talk about in this rooftop reflection. So comment below if there are things that you want us to talk about here. So going back, so observe yourself. So meron tayong subpoint dyan Una, observe our emotions. So, again, nothing wrong with emotions, but I hope that it's not getting the best of us. We can still do what we need to do. Kasi, di ba, when we are emotional, ang dami nating nasasabi na unnecessary, ang dami nating nasasabi that we don't really mean. Di ba, sometimes when we are emotional, biglang may masasabi tayong mga words. Tas when you say it, pagkasabi mo, parang gusto mong bawiin eh. Pero, di ba, it's because we are emotional. And because of this global pandemic, because of this crisis, it makes our emotions rattled or mas nahihirapan tayo. So I hope we observe our emotions. So that's the first subpoint, observe our emotions. The second is to observe our mental health. So it's not just we will check our emotions, but our mental health. And especially now we are in this 2 months enhanced community quarantine. It's taking a toll in our mental health. I hope that we are asking help from people as well. So in terms of observing our mental health, you need to observe. Am I having excessive mood changes, extreme mood changes? From super sad, tas biglang super happy? Or do you have excessive feelings of sadness, excessive feelings of lowness? Or are you the type, because of what's going on, you are socially distancing yourself from the people in your house, or maybe socially distancing yourself virtually from people, shutting off people? So those are the questions that we need to ask. How's our mental health? Of course, marami pa yan. You can check other websites, and we need to know our mental well-being in this time. So that's the thing that we need to check as well. So observe our emotions, observe our mental health, but also observe our physical well-being. So we need to check kasi nasa bahay lang tayo dito, and eto pala, because of what's going on inside of us, because of the stresses, there are studies that said that it can lead to physical ailments. Di ba alam niyo yun? Dahil sobrang stress, sometimes mas nagkakasakit, tumataas yung BP. Di ba yung kunwari, when you watch a telenovela or you watch a movie, nung nalaman na hindi pala siya tunay na anak, yung ganyan. Tapos yung mga kanya-kanya mga plot twist, di ba? Tapos si Lolo biglang maha-high blood or maha-heart attack. So, di ba, that's part of it. It can take a toll of our physical well-being. So what I'm saying is, I hope we are taking a check on our physical well-being. Kamusta na ba yung blood pressure natin? Kamusta na ba ang sugar natin? 'Di ba? Ayaw natin ano yung diabetes natin or yung diabetes natin. So we need to observe our physical well-being. But at the same time, as we observe our physical well-being, we also need, the fourth subpoint in observing yourself is to observe our spiritual life. So we all know that what we are going through, this is a financial crisis and it's also a health crisis. But I hope that this financial crisis that we are facing, it should lead to a faith crisis. I hope that this time at home, this is a time wherein we can reflect on the faithfulness of God. We can reflect on our spiritual life. Kamusta na ba? Nakapag-pray pa ba tayo? Naririnig ba natin si God in the midst of all these things? Hinihintay niya lang naman tayo eh. Hinihintay niya lang tayo to pray to Him. Hinihintay niya lang tayo to read the Bible. Hinihintay niya lang tayo na lumapit sa Kanya. That's the good thing with our God, that even if we are unfaithful, He is always faithful. Even if we feel like ang tagal na natin na disregard si God, na reject si God, He will always be there. I hope that we should reflect our spiritual life, because as we go to God, the peace of God will just transcend all understanding, that in the midst of the pandemonium, in the midst of the pressures, in the midst of the pain, the peace of God will transcend all understanding. And I talked about the peace of God. I preached on it regarding God is our shepherd, giving peace of mind. If you want to know about that, you can message me. I can send you the link. I did a preaching on that. So, we need to also check our spiritual life. Nararamdaman ba natin yung grace ni God, yung love ni God? And si God naman, He is just disposed to give us favor and grace. Ang tanong is, are we going to Him to receive it? So, we need to observe ourselves. So, we need to Again, we need to observe our emotions, we need to observe our mental state or mental well-being, we need to observe our physical well-being, and also we need to observe our spiritual life. So, observe yourself. Nasa you na tayo. Underscore what matters. Underscore what matters. Emphasize kung ano ang importante. And because of what we are going through in this crisis that we are facing. Kasi when we talk about crisis, it's intense suffering, it's tragedy. And crisis, I heard this from our pastors, they said, crisis brings clarity. I repeat that. Crisis brings clarity because of the shakings that happened on our world, in our finances, in our work. It allowed for what's important to rise above. So, ngayon, di ba, in this enhanced community quarantine, yes, it's tough, but it clarified on what matters to us, our families, yung health. It also paved the way for good hygiene, na maalala natin na kailangan maghugas ng kamay. And also, yung to help one another. So, crisis brings clarity. And not just that, it also brought clarity in terms of how we spend, in terms of our finances. Before, we thought, hindi ko kaya pag wala yung aking favorite milk tea. Because you are at home and your favorite milk tea hindi nakapag-deliver in your place, so you realize, oh, buhay pa ako. I can live without those milk tea or yung samgyutsal. So, it brings clarity on what you value the most, on what's essential to you. That's what crisis brings. Crisis brings clarity. So, that's the letter that we have, underscore what matters. And I have a subpoint for that. Yung una, so, yung sa letter U, the first subpoint is underscore a positive perspective. Underscore a positive perspective. And this is very important, especially as we are facing this tough time, facing this crisis. We need to have the perspective, and we need to take note of this. We need to reframe our thinking that what we are going through, this is not permanent. That what we are going through, that this is just a temporary setback. That we need to reframe our thinking that whatever we are going through, that this is just making us stronger. I remember a quote by Friedrich Nietzsche, whatever doesn't kill me will only make me stronger. So we need to reframe our thinking to change the narrative that yes, even if what we are going through is something that's tough, we need to see it in light of I am growing in this. I am becoming a better person. I'm becoming more patient. This allows me to pivot. This allows me to be more enterprising. This allows me to think outside the box. So we need to reframe our thinking, to have that positive perspective. Because kung hindi, what will happen is, wala na pag-asa. So we need to have those people who would help us. So, going back, we need to have that perspective, positive perspective on what to do na hindi pa ending yung nangyayari. And ito it's easy to succumb to fear. It's easy to succumb to worry. But we need to understand that God is in control of everything. That His love is that He is for us and He's not against us. So, we need to understand that the best is always yet to come. In the midst of what is going on, in the midst of the pain, it's good to maintain that positive perspective. Underscore that positive perspective. Yes, kasi kailangan ko pala i-balance Yes, we will underscore that the best is yet to come, but we still need to be grounded in reality. Hindi ko sinasabi, hindi, sige, we will get that billions, we will still get that million. Diba? It should be still grounded with realities to still face the facts like what I've said, face the facts. We need to believe for the best but still prepare for the worst. We need to be grounded with our realities. We need to be grounded on the limitations that we have, so that as we have acknowledged our limitations, as we have acknowledged the things that we need to improve on, all the more mag-hustle tayo, all the more we will persevere, all the more that we will try our best. So, yes, we need to maintain that positive perspective, but it should be grounded in reality. Positive realism. Hindi yung puro sa utak lang na kaya yan. But there is a good sense of reality. So, the second subpoint that we need to underscore our values. Kung ano yung importante sa atin. And ito, because of this crisis, what's happening is pointing to us what's our priority. Di ba? Like what I mentioned earlier, our families, si God, our good health. But what I would like to talk about in terms of underscoring our values is not just what we value or what we prioritize, or the value of the sense of right and wrong. So, because in this trying time, we have this great temptation of doing shortcuts. Ay, wala naman nakakakita eh. And my company is going to the dogs na. Kailangan to save the people. But the manner, what we will do, there's a temptation to make shortcuts, to make false claims or declare false numbers. We need to stick to what is right, because kung mag-compromise tayo, if we do things na mali, it would further aggravate the wrong. It would further aggravate the problem. So, we need to do it right. Stick to the values, stick to what is right, and eventually it will pay out. Because again, there's a greater temptation to do shortcuts. So tama sinabi ni AM Kadyang is to really to have integrity, #integrity. And we need to, like what I've said, underscore our values. But lastly, for the subpoint is to underscore the effort that's needed. I repeat, underscore the effort that's needed. Meaning that when we bounce back, it will take an effort. Hindi to yung parang pagising mo, okay na. There is a grit, there is a hustle, there is time, there is effort, there is energy that we need to do what it takes. There is a cost. Hindi madali to. Kasi, if madali to, if there's no effort, dapat lahat gumawa na. Lahat nakapag-bounce back na as much as they want. Although, that's our heart. For more people to bounce back. But yun yung component na nawawala sometimes eh. Yung effort. I hope hindi natin ma-bypass yung effort. Yung hard work. We underscore what matters. Ngayon, we've talked about B, O, U, N, and now we will talk about C. And C is connect with people. Connect with people. It's really important because we can't do it on our own. We need people who would help us. We need people who will guide us. We need people who would correct us. We need people who would stand by us. And these people, diba, yung dun sa acronym natin, sa acrostic, they are the same people who would help us bounce back higher and better. Imagine, diba, yung letter B is to be brave to face reality. Sometimes we need people to point to us the reality. Bro, tapos na. Bro, iniwan ka na. Yung mga ganyan. Bro, the business, it's bleeding red na in the negative for 6 months. So, that's what people can do para matulungan tayo. And then yung sa O is to observe yourself. So again, when we see ourselves, sometimes it can be rose-colored glasses, but we need to have people to point to us that as we have observed ourselves, sila rin yung magsabi, ito ang objective, ito yung nakikita namin. And ito I wasn't able to mention this in letter O. Yung O kasi, yes, you observe yourself, right? Yung emotional health, yung mental health, yung physical well-being, your spiritual life. But after observing that, syempre hindi natatapos doon. You need to ask help sa mga bagay na kailangan mo ng help. So if there is some challenges in emotions, then ask help from people. If there are challenges in terms of your mental health, then talk to people. Or maybe, if in your case, the best course is to visit a doctor, go ahead. Or maybe physical well-being, you can ask help from people. Do some exercise. So it's not just stopping from just observing it, but that should be a jumping point for you and to make things better. So also, understand what matters. What we're doing, iniisa-isa natin yung mga letters ulit kasi related yan sa connect with people eh. So, di ba, understand what matters. Yung mga tao din will point to us, will make us realize what's important in our lives to help us process with our thoughts. Ay, pero parang may na-skip yata ako na letter. Napansin nyo ba? Kasi di ba, B-O-U, may N pa. So, hindi ko na-mention yung N, pero babalikan natin yung N. Hindi nyo naman sinabi sa akin na na-skip ko yung letter N. Pero, sige, tapusin na muna natin yung letter C. Ano ba yan? High-ulid na yun. Iba talaga nagagawa ng adjustment natin dito. So, nawawala ako sa flow and rhythm. But let's go back first to letter C because yun nga, connecting with people. Before we go back to letter N, nagkakagulo-gulo na tayo. But that's okay because that's life. Sometimes, even as how well you planned it, nagugulo-gulo eh. Kumbaga, tanggapin mo na nagkamali ka. Like what happened? Natanggap ko na nagkamali ako sa lettering. I missed out on letter N. Pero babalikan natin ang letter N. So going back, di ba? So, yung connect with people, I mentioned in terms of connecting with people, may 2 subpoints dyan. Kaya natin inisa-isa lahat ng mga letters because ito yung mga tao na to, these people will be the same people who will help us face reality, help us observe ourselves, and understand or underscore what matters. So, may 2 subpoints tayo dito sa connect with people is to connect personally. Connect personally. So, of course, sinabi ko, we need to have those friends, we need to have those family members who would help process our thoughts, what's going on in our mind, our deepest thoughts, yung frustrations. We need to connect personally. Tulong-tulungan tayo. And not just to connect personally so that we can get help, but also to give help. That's also important based on studies. I saw that it's not just you seeking for people so that you can be helped, but also it would help you as well when you are helping people. So, connect personally, and you can do that in different ways and forms. Yun yung sa connect. Connect with people, so connect personally. Second subpoint is connect professionally. So, hindi lang siya in a work perspective, but even in a business context. So, I'm part of Mapua Global FB group. Sino dito? Mga Viva Mapua. Hi guys for watching. Mga Viva Mapua. We are part, or at least inad kami sa Global Mapua group. And if you see the post, puro kalokohan talaga eh. Kung ano-ano mga memes, kung ano-ano mga throwback. But there are also some posts that they are networking with one another. Nagtutulungan sila. They're asking help, technically speaking. They are showing their credentials or the work na baka magkatulungan in terms of whatever systems. So that's the way to go. That even in times that we have fallen, it's important to connect to people, especially professionally. And hindi lang siya professionally, like what I've said, but even sa business. Napansin nyo ba, at least in our neighborhood, very active yung FB group. Dati wala eh. But now, people are posting, selling, the ube pandan, pandan, ano yun? Ube pandesal with cheese. Ayan. So, di ba, this is the time that we should connect with people. In this trying time, sana we should not isolate ourselves. Yun yung tendency, kaya ko to, or you allow the world crushing you down. But I hope that you should connect with people. Di ba? Because we can't do it on our own. We are designed for community. And if you are a person that you don't know who to reach out to, you don't have people who can rally with you, who can encourage you, message me. I can connect you to people who would guide you, who would lead you, who would even pray for you, encourage you. Kung wala kayong mga tao to help you in this journey or in this trying time, in this crisis, please, eto seryoso ako, please message me. And I want you not facing the trouble or challenge alone. Please message me so that we can bounce back together. So, yun yung letter C. At balikan na natin ang letter N. So, yun nga, tao lang. So, na-skip ko pala yung letter N. So, ganun talaga eh. The blows of life or baka signs of aging. Hashtag be complex. Kailangan na natin. So, I skipped letter N, but the good thing with that, pwede nating balikan. So, the good thing with that, kahit nagkamali tayo in life, and that's a reflection of our lives, that even when we make a mistake, balikan lang natin, rise up, be better. So, yung letter N, I hope you are ready, letter N is to necessitate change. Necessitate change. And when we say necessitate, it means to make necessary. And we know change, obviously, we don't need to make it necessary because it's the only constant thing in this world. Even if we don't want that there will be changes, there will be changes. So what we need to do is just embrace the change, because we might be successful in some way before, but it's not successful now, or it won't work now. The business model won't work now. So necessitate change. So I have a sub point for this. First is change the goal. Change the goal. So if we feel like because of what's going on, because of the challenges, maybe, just maybe, in this season, baka it's not feasible to pursue the goals that we want. Maybe in this season. Or maybe having a sense of acknowledging our limitations and our strengths, at least in this season, baka hindi talaga. So, change the goal. So, maybe, as we change the goal, maybe our goal is to be an entrepreneur of selling milk tea. Tsaa kayo dyan. Oh, di ba? And then, the reason why you wanted it, the reason why that was your goal, because it was a fad. Your friends were eating, eating the balls or the sinkers, pero drinking milk tea. So, and ikaw, you don't have that robust business model or that strong branding. So now, ngayon, nagkaroon ng challenges, so hindi nagpipick up. So, maybe it's a good time to change the goal. And probably, napili mo nga lang tong milk tea business, not necessarily it's your passion, but because fad people are doing it. So maybe it's time to change the goal, at least for the season. Maybe change it into something that you are more passionate about. Something kahit hindi ka bayaran, sobrang excited kang gawin. Or you are very knowledgeable about it. You can think of those things. Maganda if it's aligned with your passion, aligned with your interest. But of course, it should not just stop with just being aligned with your passion, because there are times that those passions that we have, it's not as monetizable, if there's a word, at least at that point. So, yes, it's good that you find a way na you do things that you love, that you're good at, and find a way where people will be willing to pay for it. Sana may market pa rin. So, find that sweet spot. Or at least, kung hindi passions for you, but you know there's a good, robust business model, why not? So, it's good to try those things. So, what I'm saying is, because of the setback, it's okay to change the goal. Okay lang. And in terms of business, 4 out of 5 businesses, yung reality, based on research, 4 out of 5 businesses in the span of 5 years, they lead to bankruptcy. So, ganun ka-challenging. So, yun yung una, is to change the goal. The second sub-point for that, so nasa end na tayo, necessitate change. We talked about change the goal, but maybe, ito na yung second sub-point, is to change the strategy. Yes, the goal will still be the same, but change how you do it. Change how the tactics. Change how you attack the situation. So, we see in this enhanced community quarantine, a lot of businesses, they are adjusting. And ito na lang, yung the best ramen in the Philippines. I don't know if you will agree with me. Hi, Jared. Hi, Theo. The best ramen for me, baka very controversial to, it is Mendocoro. Comment below if you agree on that, kung gusto niyo rin yung ramen at Mendocoro. I remember when we were in Makati, grabe ang haba ng pila ng Mendocoro. So kahit 10 p.m., there are still a lot of people. And what they do, hi Becca, they don't allow take-outs or pick-ups. Hindi pwede. Because ang sobrang lakas ng demand Their business model before is walang take-out. But now, because everyone is at home and there is a strong demand for their product, ngayon, they change the strategy and now, pwede na Mendocoro na take out or maybe delivery. Hindi ko pa na-try because I just heard this from my brother. So, grabe yung strong demand ng Mendocoro. As they have changed strategy, what happened is, if you want to order yung Mendocoro, it will take you 2 weeks to get your order. So, ganon kalakas yung demand. So, they have pivoted in terms of strategy. So, Mark Mercado, yes, in some way, overpriced ang Mendocoro kasi meron tayo nakita mga ramen, mga 70 pesos lang, 80 pesos lang. O, pwede na yun, laman tiyan yun. So, yun nga. So, the point is, in this enhanced community quarantine, it will force us to think outside the box and change our strategy, just like what Mendocoro did. So, ano ba yung mga ramen na gusto nyo? Or ano ba yung mga restaurants or fast food na gusto nyo na mag-take out at mag-delivery sa bahay ninyo? Kasi it disrupted all things. So, yung ramen, at least, na Mendocoro, pwede na. Comment below, what are those things na gusto nyo sana, at least, i-petition natin na pwede sila mag-take out or mag-deliver. So, balik tayo. So, change the goal for necessitating change. Change the strategy. Change the timeline. So, you don't want to change the goal. You don't want to change the strategy. But maybe, you can change the timeline, especially with what happened. Of course, there are challenges. Maybe you can adjust the timeline, especially with what happened. It's something that we are not aware or we haven't planned itong COVID-19 nasa bahay tayo. So, it can change the timeline. Maybe you can extend as long as all the stakeholders, the people involved, they know that you will extend the timeline. So, those are those things. So, change the timeline, change the strategy, and then change the goal. But also at the same time, dun sa tatlo na yun, you can also adjust the manpower. Move people based on kung saan talaga sila strengths. You can downscale, you can upscale. What's important is, for us to bounce back better is we need to necessitate change. Embrace change. So, yan yung letter M. And then yung letter C, which we discussed earlier kasi nagkamali tayo, to connect with people. So, connect with people personally and professionally. So, as we have talked about those letters, we made an acrostic on how to bounce back. We use the word bounce, and di ba naalala natin, yung bounce is be brave to face reality. Yung O, observe yourself. Yung U is to underscore what matters. And then yung N, ayun, tama na, nauna na yung N. Necessitate change. And then C, connect with people. And then yung E, you know, as we do all of those letters, it would lead to letter E. Evolve to be better. Evolve to be better. Because i-embrace natin yung change, because we will have a positive perspective. We will just go be better and better and better, so that even if we have fallen, even if ang dami nating challenges, we can rise above it. We can go beyond it. We can surpass it. We can overcome it. So we will evolve to be better and stronger. So, yan yung maganda. Dahil with the help of people, as we have observed ourselves and asking help from the things that we need help, so it would allow us to be better. So that we will be better, not just for the sake of being better, but we will be better so that we can be people who would be closer to the destinies God has placed for us, the greatness God has in store for us, so that we can be a blessing to our generation. We will not just be better for ourselves, but so that the generation, not just our generation, but even the next generation, that they will be blessed because of our life, because on how we bounce back. And there are countless of stories. They have experienced a lot, traumatic experiences, but they bounce back, rise above. Alam natin yung kwento ni Nelson Mandela, right? 27 years in prison, but it changed him, and eventually became the president of South Africa. So, etong nangyayari, yung pagbagsak natin, yung pag-fall natin, it's changing us from the very core of us. That's why we will be better. And like what I've mentioned, diba, as we see perspectives in a different way, as we reflect even in our walk with God, makita natin na grabe love tayo ni God. So, those are those things. As we wrap this all up, we know that we are facing a storm, and it could cause us to just really fall, to be not hitting our goal. So how to bounce back? from the blows of life. So we made an acrostic, and then ulitin natin, yung B is to be brave in facing reality. Be brave in facing reality. So our subpoint there is to acknowledge reality and accept reality. Letter O is to observe yourself. Observe yourself in terms of your physical well-being, observe your mental health, observe your emotions, but also at the same time, observe your spiritual life. So that's O. And then yung U is to underscore what matters or emphasize what's most important to you. And yung sa U natin is, yung subpoint is to underscore a positive perspective. It's important what we are going through, we see that it's just building us up. So a positive perspective that the best is yet to come. And then the second subpoint for that is to underscore your values. You know what you value, but at the same time, the value of the sense of right and wrong, of not doing compromises, because it's easy to make shortcuts in this trying time. And then another thing that we need to underscore is to underscore the effort that's needed. That yes, as we bounce back, this is not going to be easy, but this is something that will entail effort. It will entail hard work. It will entail energy. It will entail time. So that's letter U. And then letter N, ayun, natama na yung arrangement. For those people who just joined in, while I was doing the acronym, nauna yung letter C than N. So at least tama na. So yung N is necessitate change, and then the subpoint for that is to change the goal, or you can change the strategy, or you can change the timeline. So again, it can be either of those things, or it can be a combination of all those things. And then what would help us in those letters would be letter C, which is to connect with people. Sila yung tutulong sa atin to process those things. Sila yung tutulong sa atin to acknowledge, accept reality. They will also help us observe ourselves better, and not just observe ourselves better, but so that we can do what it takes for us to improve, and for those things na kailangan natin ma-rectify, whether in mental health, emotional health, spiritual quotient. So, connect with people, and as we connect with people, we will connect people personally and connect people professionally. This is a time wherein we can network, not just for our own good, but also for our businesses. And then, lastly, the result of that, it will evolve us to be better. Gagaling lang tayo at gagaling because of this, allowing us to bounce back higher from before. And as I put this to a close, we need to remember that what we are going through, that the challenges, the crisis that we are facing, this too shall pass. That whatever hardships, whatever frustrations that you're experiencing, you need to remember that that's just temporary. That whatever we are facing, it is building us up. Whatever setback that we are experiencing, it's changing our core so that we would see that we need God. We would see that we need people. We will see na ang yabang pala natin, that the stabilities or the things that we have put our security because of this COVID-19 na shake. If you are experiencing those down times, if you are experiencing those challenging times, you need to remember that there will be grace of God for you to pivot, to think outside the box. You are not alone in facing all those things. You are not alone. That's not the end of the road for you. In fact, this will be a time wherein you will be stronger. This will be a time wherein you will have the knowledge to make things work. We need to remember that hindi ka nag-iisa. And we are all facing these storms, and saktong-sakto today, we are experiencing si Ambo, signal number 2 in Metro Manila, but also the storm that we are facing is also the storm, not just literally by Ambo, but figuratively because of the storm of this COVID-19. And it's stuff that we are going through. And we heard this, we are all facing the storms, but we are not in the same boat. Meaning, na tayo pinagdadaanan yung COVID, pero because of the buffer that we have, because of the money, the convenience that we have, nasa iba-ibang boats tayo. May iba-ibang convenience. To some, because of this COVID, wala, chill lang. Kasi yung finances nila okay pa, nothing affected in their work, in their business. To some, medyo medyo running dry yung finances and it's getting to be worrisome. And maybe to some people is what they are going through is they don't know where to they will get those finances. And yes, we are experiencing the same storm but a different boat. But for me, yes, it matters kung saan boat ka. But what ultimately matters is who you are with in the boat. Kaya, yan yung question natin earlier. In facing the storms, yes, iba-ibang boat natin. Meron iba, malaki yung boat, iba, maliit. Yung iba, submarine. Yung iba, si NDR MMC, nag-message. Yung iba, cruise yacht. But what's important is who you are with in the boat. It can be your family. It can be the people you love. It can be your spouse. It can be your friends. And those are all good. For me, and this is just optional, we all face through a lot of storms. Marami rin ako napagdaan ng storm. But what helped me in the storms of life, although I know there's so much to face, is I'm just relatively young. Although middle tayo. But the thing is, what helped me, and this is something that really helped me, is yung kasama ko sa boat in the midst of all these storms is kasama ko si God. Kasama ko si Jesus. Because yun lang talaga eh. Si God yung maglalagay ng stability. It is God who would give us the peace. It is God who would enable us to have the wisdom, to have the grace that we need. The good thing with that, even if we know that our boat is sinking, if God is there, alam natin that we will thrive in this situation. Ito, bonus lang to, pero ito yung nag-overflow sa heart ko eh. Yes, do all of those things, yung letters natin, but what's important when facing the storms is kasama natin si God. Because if we get to know God, it's not promised to have a storm-free life, but a storm-proof life. So I hope that you have the opportunity that when you face the blows of life, you're not facing it on your own, but you have the people who will rally behind you. But most importantly, that God is in that boat. And alam mo si God, He wants us to invite Him in our challenges. Ang tanong, are we willing to allow Him to be in our boat? So, yes, we are facing all the blows of life. But if we know in the boat that we are in, kasama natin si God, we know we will survive the storm and eventually things will get better. So, that's our rooftop reflections. How to bounce back to the blows of life. And I hope that this video helped you. And the reason I'm doing this video is kasi as much as I want to talk to you individually, as much as I want to see you face to face, hindi pwede. I'm doing these videos is so that kung ang nasa puso ko, ma-share ko sa inyo kasi ito yung tingin kong way that would add value eh. This is the way that I think that could be of benefit to our generation. So please, whatever you learn here, please share it, especially to those people na may pinagdadaanan. So please like this video, share this video, send it to your friends, send it to your office mates, because always remember kung ano yung blows ng life, we can bounce back together and we will move and grow stronger together. So again, as we are facing these storms, you are not alone, but we are here and we are better together. So that's our rooftop reflections. So what are those letters na nag-resonate sa'yo? Is it to be brave in facing reality? Or is it observing yourself? Are you having self-awareness of what you are going through? Or yung sa you underscoring what matters? Do you know what's essential already in what's going on with your life? And also letter N, necessitate change, meaning are we embracing those change? Or C, connect with people. Are we connecting with people? And hopefully, is leading us to evolve better. So, Kathy, be brave. So, yun nga eh, be brave to face the brutal facts. So, Jim Collins sabi niya, di ba? Face the brutal facts. So, we need to be brave. We need to call things as they are. Wag na natin i-sugarcoat. Wag na natin sabihin, hi, ganito lang. We need to call it as it is. Harapin natin so that we can craft the better action plan. Kasi kung hindi natin na-diagnose properly, if hindi natin na define properly, mali yung action plan. That's why it's good and to acknowledge what it is and also accept it for what it is. So AM Kadyang, evolve to be better. So yes, as we face these challenges, it will just make us stronger, make us better, make us allow ourselves to pivot and really to be a blessing more. So thank you sa pag-join sa Rooftop Reflections, Indoor Edition, Sala Edition, Living Room Reflections, saying to evolve to be better. Kasi, di ba, I hope that when problems strike, hindi lang siya problems per se. There are learnings that we can get. So, I hope that this is allowing us to be better people. This would allow us to improve in terms of our competence, improve on what needs to be improved. Any questions, guys, with what we talked about? I hope this added value to you. I hope this encouraged you in some way. And pasok na pasok sa natin. May bagyo talaga eh. So, the storms that we are facing, hindi lang naman to pang ngayon lang eh. We will face storms in different seasons of our lives. So, thank you guys for joining. And I hope you have learned something. Basil Ho, very timely. Good to hear from you, bro. Basil, bro, good to hear from you. I hope you learned from this video. Marami pa akong mga videos, bro. If ever this is the first time that you have seen the video, meron ako about thriving. So, please also share to your friends. So, Irish Brewer, necessitate change. So, change the goals, change the strategy, and change the timeline. So, yun nga eh. Embrace the change. Change is already there, but we need to, kumbaga sabay natin yung change. Because what got us here won't get us there. What made us successful before won't make us successful again. Especially in this trying time. So, Victor Kulia. Hi, Megan. So, anything guys? So, thank you so much for joining me. Masyado nang napahaba yung kwentuhan natin. But I hope you learned something. But the good thing is, it will not stop us from helping one another. It will not stop us from leveling up. It will not stop us from bouncing back higher. Because yung maalala natin dyan is that yung the higher the fall, the bigger the bounce. So no matter we feel like sobrang laki ng binaksak natin, the greater the bounce. The greater the bounce that we can rise up to whatever we are facing. So thank you, Kathy. So thank you for appreciating. So medyo na-challenge ako sa acronym eh. Kasi parang for the past videos, puro acronym ako. Parang new normal ko na to eh. So we'll see if I can do more acronyms in the next video. So comment below the videos that you want us to do here, the things that you want to learn. So God bless you guys. Thank you so much. Do not forget to like the video, share this video to your friends. If it's helping you, share it as much as you can. God bless you. Thank you so much. Remember, the best is always yet to come. God bless you. Bye.